I'm all ready with the coffee.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think we are live. Welcome to 100 Days Live Podcast with me, Sonia from Live Podcast Media. And yes, it's been 2 weeks that we are doing this every day. And today I have a very special guest. My sponsor, my best mentor, and then also my guest expert speaker today, Mark Stinson. And yes, I can do this because our sponsors like him, Bioscience Bridge, and also of course Ecam because I'm using Ecam right now. Thank you so much, Katie Fox, and then also Todd Cochrane, of course, with the Blueberry for my podcast platform, and Ann Carden from Expert in You, Jody Krenger from Piece of Cake Voice Awards and Focus, and Mark Stinson himself from Bioscience Bridge. And in 100 days, we are going to discuss about from creator to brand, the opportunity to stream and profit in the future of media. So 100 days of 100 days live podcast is about live streaming, podcasting, and influencing. So if you haven't known Mark Stinson, he is the recipient of Brand Leadership Award from the Asia Brand Congress for Global Marketing Awards, and he was included in the Pharma Voice 100 Most Inspiring People in Life Sciences Industry. So he is a nerd, but as well as a businessman, and he has his podcast, and he has been interviewing many leaders in their industry from all over the world. So he is a global host also. And today we are going to discuss about how to unlock the power of your content. This is really dangerous because it is a very important discussion for us today, and he is here to share with us. Welcome, Mark Stinson. How have you been? You've been
I've been great.
everywhere in the whole world, traveling for your
Sonia,
holiday.
Sonia, it's so good to be back with you. I think about the title of this series, the 100 Days. It's not only a title, it's a commitment. I mean,
I agree.
100 days live. I mean, kudos to you. It's a fantastic series. I love the topic. I love the way you're presenting it, both interviews and solo, and you're really stirring up a lot of conversation. And I hope people are enjoying it and following it. I like to go back and if I missed a couple of days, you kind of go back and you still watch it. But the fact that it's live gives it a certain immediacy. And you're the one who encouraged me to do more live work. And so
I don't remember that. Did I do that really?
you did. 2 years ago, you're like, why are you editing everything? Just turn on the microphone, turn on the camera, and let's go live. And so we
So
did.
I'm a good motivator, well, even though I'm not a motivator, Mark. And how does it feel after going live with the international expert speakers in their industries, and it is from all over the world?
Yeah, literally. And so sometimes, the guests are more nervous than me. I'm a
Mm-mm.
little more accustomed to it. But
Mm-hmm.
and then I still do some editing after the fact. But the fact that
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it live, this is not a studio kind of interview situation. I
Mm-hmm.
do the interviews live. I help present the guests and the topics in the best light that I can. But it gives it an immediacy. It means
Mm-hmm.
that what we're talking about, is here and now, and it's fun.
And then I wonder how you choose your topics for your podcast. Actually, that is the first question that I have in mind, because you have so many guest expert speakers right on your podcast. So how do you define or determine your topics in each interview? Because just like Jody
Yeah.
Krenger, you have special what is it topics, but it is not only one or two topics, something like that. Jody is specialized in audio, right? But you are different. You talk about everything, and that is not the pharmacy or the medical industry.
Right. Right.
So it's not like your background. I thought that you would be like a great consultant for the hospitals from the medical universe, but you do different topics, you do different niches, you do different podcasts. That is not your background.
Yes. So you're right. I've had a chance to interview authors, fiction and nonfiction authors, reporters, but also singer-songwriters, musicians of all kinds. I recently interviewed the father of smooth jazz. He
Wow.
invented
Wow.
the
The
genre of
smooth.
smooth jazz.
Yes.
But also then,
Jazz is already smooth, but he invented the smooth jazz.
yeah, it's so
It
smooth.
must be luxurious thing to hear, to
Yeah.
listen to.
Exactly. So anyway, with authors and singer-songwriters, but also a game show host, a game show creator, a celebrity dentist. You mentioned all sorts of medical, people. So I think the thread that I look for is what is their creative process?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever field they're in, they have a process. So how do they go about organizing their ideas, writing their ideas, ultimately publishing? I like to say getting your work out into the world. Just like I said about you in this 100 days,
Mm-hmm.
you can have all the ideas in the world, but unless you're
Mm-hmm.
confident enough and brave enough, like you use the word brave, is to get your work into the world. And so no matter what kind of guests I have, I always ask them about their creative process and how they get their work into the world.
Wow. But it is not easy. But you mentioned 100 days. Actually, fingers crossed, this time I can make it. Last year, I really
Yes.
had to make a hard decision to build my offline business. Because if not, I don't think I would survive at that time. Because of, there are so many things going on here also. And
So
then,
many.
yeah, maybe I disappoint my, what is it, my sponsors. But you are still here to support me. And I'm very proud of you because you are here still all of the way through my ups and downs in live streaming industry. Because in live streaming, it is what we are. Everything is in real time, right? I don't,
That's right.
I don't, what is it? Try to do the modification or something like that. It is us in front of the camera. So what we are talking about is also what we are thinking of, right? Even though no matter how we prepare everything, it is unscripted, right? And then also this is
Yes.
the conversation that we have, and then I think it is a great discussion today that you would like to share how to unlock the power of your content. Of course, for me and you, I would like to discuss about the power of content in live streaming or through live streaming. Mark, what do you think about that?
Well, I go back to what you said about the content actually as a building block to the brand. People say, "Oh, I've built a brand. I'm building a brand. I'm building a business," and then they say, "But I don't know what to post. I don't know what to write about. I don't know how to blog. I don't know what tools to use." So we've got to have both. We've got to have the expertise and the confidence to talk about our business and our brand, but we also have to have the creativity to say lots of different ways to tell my story, lots of different media or mediums to use, and lots of different platforms to try, networks to build. So we've got to stay creative. We've got to stay on edge. And while I may not do an interview like this every day, I'm always open to it. I'm prepared for it. I love to tell the story of both my business and my podcast and my processes. But yeah, we have to be ready as business people, as brand owners. We have to be ready.
But then, what about me, for example, and other people who think that we are not creative, Mark? So, what do we need to do to create the content? Maybe if we have certain niches, maybe we can feel stuck to create the content. There are so many podcasts and live stream that stop only because of they feel they are stuck, not having the ideas for the contents. Even though, of course, ChatGPT and other AI now can help to create the content, right?
Yes. Now, this is a common theme in every podcast interview I've done. And now on my creativity podcast, I'm up to like episode 380. So that's a lot of interviews with a lot of creative people.
Yes.
And everyone says that we all are creative. So the first thing to get over is that, if you say to yourself, well, I'm really not that creative, or I'm not a creative, meaning I'm not a writer, I'm not an artist, I'm not a singer, but we all have creativity. And we also can rely on tools. And as excited as we are about AI, and everybody says, oh, let's ask ChatGPT what we should talk about. No, the creativity is a muscle that you can continue to build. So if every day you say, well, let me give some thought, let me take some time to think about my content. Do I want to talk about my method? Do I want to talk about my resilience and my story of how I got here? Do I want to talk about my collaborators? Do I want to talk about how I mastered the numbers, the finances? I think about many of the guests that I have said, you've got to remember creativity is a business, branding is a business. And to have a business, you have to know your numbers. You have to know your data. You have to know your dollars, So all of these things can help build the creative muscle. And think about all the content you see that starts with a negative. 4 things to avoid, things that I did, mistakes that I made. You can develop this as a content, generator, creative muscle.
Wow, so deep. This conversation is so deep now because you said that creativity is a business. How can it be a business? And then what kind of power that we have if we unlocked it from our content? And what are the goals of our content, in your opinion, that can be really powerful for our brand and our business, Mark?
Yes.
Did I ask it or what is it? Deliver it right? I mean, my question.
Yeah, the question is right on. So
Thank you.
what are the power that we're unlocking? The power of the brand, the power of the content. So many people, I just read one of our fellow podcasters, Todd, this morning, was talking about, we need to stop shouting at people and just selling our products.
Yeah.
Here's the features of the product. Here are the, benefits of buy from me, buy from me. No, nobody wants to hear that anymore. We need to stop shouting at people.
Unless in Bali, when they sell the souvenir and they go, wave me.
Yeah, you think about the markets that
the market.
Yeah, try it, or the perfume section at a department store.
Yeah.
Everybody's spraying you, and they want you to try their samples. Oh,
That's right.
So the power of your content is that you have something to serve your customer. You have something that will educate your listener. You have something that will excite your listeners. And if you have viewers, you're not just trying to create, the next funny TikTok dance. You're actually serving a need. Now, having said that, I work with a lot of business to business. If people want to come up with a funny commercial or whatever, that's great. That's one way of creativity. But there's so many other ways to serve people and show them, not just tell them, and, reveal to them, not just shout at them. So that's what I mean by unlocking the power of your content. You have a story, at least I hope you do, as a content creator. Now it's how many different ways and how many different avenues and how many different styles and ways could you tell that story?
Wow. Now I'm confused. What should I ask you? Because you have already deliver a lot of golden nuggets here. And then, but you know me, I always want to know more. And then, with your guest expert speakers, what goals you would like to have from them, and what goals do they want from you? Because at the end, we need to reach our target in live streaming and podcasting. So we have purpose and, yes, what I mean, goals in our live streaming and podcasting, especially for our brand and our business, right? Because you already mentioned so many things, how to create the great content, and then even though if we are not creative, actually we are creative enough to do this. And then I don't know if I am creative enough for the next 100 days. I mean, how many days? Still 80 days more, I think, something like that, Mark. So,
It's amazing.
thank
Well,
you.
I think that the goals of many people who come on, at least my podcast, and maybe this is true of other,
Mm,
live streams and podcasts, but they may have a new project. Uh, I've interviewed, for example, a TV theme composer, and so he was looking for new movies or new TV
mm,
shows. I recently interviewed a network executive who was building a new live stream network or a streaming service, movies and TV shows.
mhm,
So she was looking for content creators who might
mhm.
submit. So people are looking for connections. That's probably the most general way I could say it.
I
They
agree.
might be they might be looking for a new job, or they might be looking for new clients. They might be looking for people to buy their books, but no matter what, they're looking to connect. So if I talk to an author of a new novel and they have been a reporter for a newspaper, I remember talking with Amy Gamerman, and she's a reporter at the Wall Street Journal.
Oh,
Amy Gamerman doesn't need my help reaching new readers at the Wall Street Journal,
that's
but
true.
she was looking to connect new readers to her book. She was looking
Mhm,
for maybe new connections to go on a book tour and
mhm,
tell about. So they're looking for new ways to connect. And I think if we as content creators think of us as connectors
mhm.
and not just streamers, not just podcasters, we're not just radio interviewers.
Yes.
We're really connectors. And with that mindset, I think we have a different viewpoint. Like I'm talking with you now. I know you, but I'm really looking now to connect with you. Plus, we have people viewing and watching and listening.
Mhm.
We want to connect with them. Do they have a question that they would like to ask you? Do they want to know more about live podcast media? Do they want to
Mhm.
know something more about the sponsors? So it's all about connections.
Yes, about the connection, it is. I mentioned it already on my brand message and also on 100 Days Live podcast. And then I call it also the signature brand, that in 100 Days Live podcast we connect with the other people, not only me who learn to go solo, to push myself to go solo, to what is it, not only to not to learn, but also to reach my potential niches one day, not today, I believe, but the right people will come to me. I mean, I will not be able to reach them, but because of I have a small follower, small subscriber, but I think by keep doing it, and then I believe that there will be people who need us. And then by working with you, Mark, and then also you sponsor me, you also help me to boost my content. It's on the other way around. It should be me
Yes.
who give more, I mean, exposures to our sponsors and guest expert speakers, but in reality you also support me and help me to reach the people who I cannot reach. Is that what you mean with her, I mean?
Well, yes, and I'm saying that we're all reaching a little bit different segment of connections,
Mhm.
and also to get out of our own patterns. If you're just talking to the same people every day, and you say, "Oh, how can I be more creative?" Well, meet some new people. interview some new, on some new shows. Write a new article for a different magazine than you usually write for. I mean, all the things that you're saying about your content, um, me being on your platform, you've been on my podcast. So we're sharing different circles of friends. This is just like in our social lives. You know people and I know people, and then when we get them all in a room, we go, wow, we really know some nice people. And so the circles begin to overlap. And the more the circles overlap, the more fun we're going to have and the more creative we're going to be.
And then to unlock the power of your content, how can we do it? And then if we unlock the power of our content, what will we get? What is the outcome?
Yes. Well, one of the things, and I'm starting to get ready to publish all this in new books, Sonia. So when
Wow! You've been traveling everywhere, but now it's really surprising that you are going to have a new book. Whoa!
Yes, and this is the first time I've mentioned it, so it's a world exclusive for you. No, but I'm going to call it Unlock the Power of Your Creativity. Because after I started with the first 250 interviews I did, and I've consolidated those, and I've organized them, and I've mentioned the stories behind the interviews, and I've really tried to learn 6 lessons from these 250 interviews. And what I mean by unlock is to say, anytime you have an idea for content or an idea for a creative project, you can look at it 6 different ways, and this is what I learned from my interviews. 6 different ways. And I mentioned a minute ago about the process, and that was number 1. The number 1 way you can unlock the power of your content is to identify and define and describe your signature method. You have something, the way you work, that no one else has. And if you, as a creative content creator, can define that method, call it something, brand it, then you're infinitely further than most people are. Most people say, oh, I just came up with the idea. No, you didn't. You had a way. There's a way that you do things. So that was the first thing. But the second is to really partner with collaborators. And I alluded to this a moment ago. But no idea is going to get off the ground without you partnering with somebody.
How?
Nobody is going to do it all themselves.
That's true.
You need a teammate, or you need a platform, or you need a medium. You need an interviewer. You need somebody to help you draw out your story, draw out your content. And if you actually make that a part of your story, I mean, listen to us talking right now. We've mentioned your other sponsors like Jody and like Katie, and we've talked about other guests, and we've talked about people who introduced us. I think back to one of our very first podcasts.
I think I know you from Jody, right? Jody Krenger. Am I right?
Yes. And Josh Carey, was hosting a weekly program, and we were both on it. So, I mean, we have these potential collaborators, and wouldn't it be interesting, the more we tell the stories of how we collaborate and who we're collaborating with, that's one way to unlock your content.
And what I mean is also the outcomes. Are there material outcomes that we are going to gain from unlocking the power of content?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think, and sometimes we have one goal in mind and different things happen.
Yes.
But if you say, for example, I want to unlock the power of my content, I've interviewed creative people from all over the world. I think I want to turn that into a book. Great. Now I think I want to take that book and turn it into a series of articles. Great. Now I can take that book and I have a year's worth of posts. I will never be short of what to post about on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. I'll never be dry, because this book has stories galore and how I want to tell it and how I want to release it. So once you have this core idea, the unlocking is make it available in all the different ways that you can.
Yes, and I would like to say hi to Felix Montelara from and he said hi from Montgomery, AL, Alaska. What is AL? I'm not sure about it.
Alabama, my
Alabama,
favorite.
sorry, not Alaska.
Hey,
Hi
how are
Felix,
you?
how are you? Sorry, I cannot see your comment on the search studio, but I click LinkedIn and there was a notification that we have the greetings from Felix. So Alabama, thank you so much, Felix, for joining us. If you have any question, please do in the comments, or if you would like to greet other people here. It is like a radio that we give something for others to share out. Thank you so much, Felix. And then, okay, Mark, let's continue our discussion because it's getting better and better, in my opinion. I mean, like, I am really alert how, if we unlock the power of content, then we will gain much more than we expect, or sometimes when we plan as a content creator, right? But yesterday I also talk about the hybrid media branding, so we can repurpose our content but still the same brand message everywhere, but on the different formats also, right? From video to podcast, and then to blog, and then also so many things, to shorts in YouTube.
Yes. Oh, no question. And I think many people, of course, have an image of a brand that it means my logo and my colors and my type font, are going to be the same everywhere. And so they're really concerned about how will they be presented in different media. And I say that's fine. But many content creators like you and I are personal brands. So my face, my glasses, my hat, my image isn't going to change. I don't have a logo on the screen, and that's fine. And people know us. And so to the extent that we have a personal brand, let the people get to know you. And let the people get to know you as an individual, as a person. And I think it's very fashionable right now. A restaurant chain here in the U.S., Cracker Barrel, just rebranded, and they just came up with a whole new logo. And every time some company like this comes up with a new logo, people want to challenge it, comment on it, disagree about it, say they made a mistake. But at least we're talking about it. I haven't thought of Cracker Barrel in a long, long time. And yet now, having changed their brand, they're in the news. And so can they learn? Can they grow? Will they make changes? Of course they will. They'll adapt. But we will always be our personal brand. And we can change our wardrobe, but we can't change our brand. And as long as we espouse that, that's part of unlocking the brand, is let people see you.
And then for maintaining the right content for our brand, I think that is a part of our job to unlock the power of content to create the biggest or the best results or outcomes for us, right? And then will it be okay if we don't know how it is in the beginning, as the, let us say I am a new content creator, I have just started, even though I have a lot of technique and strategies that the gurus teach us about niches, right, about certain platform, about everything, even how to perform in front of the camera, then will it be difficult for us to create the content that way, Mark?
Yeah, well, I think, as we've talked about before, podcasts, a lot of people start a podcast.
Yes.
They get 5 episodes in and they go, wow, this is harder than it looked.
That's
This
right.
takes more time than I thought. Well, they need to improve their workflow. I know when I first started podcasting 5 years ago. It took a lot of time. I have improved my workflow. I can do episodes now, and especially the more confident you get doing live episodes, it takes less and less time. But I say one of the things I learned in all these interviews, and the number 3 lesson I'm going to share with you on building and unlocking your content, is the backbone of resilience. You've got to stay resilient, and you're going to hit a wall, and you got to keep moving. I ran out of episodes, and so I did a greatest hits episode. I ran out of interviews, so
Yes.
I reached out and got more people to interview. You realize that maybe you're interviewing the same kind of people. You have to stretch yourself
Yes.
and invite some new and different people. And so all I'm saying about this is the resilience factor. When I mentioned I'd interview a game show creator, he's just got a whole new show coming on. But Dave Knoll is a creator of the game show Chopped. And Chopped is now all, Food Network. It's an international best hit. And stories like this go around, but he pitched this show to an infinite number of networks and an infinite number of producers who passed on it. They said, no, we're not that interested. And finally, he got the buy. So Food Network said yes, and now it's an international hit. And so now he has other shows he's pitching, but he says you've got to always be pitching. So you can't give up just because you get a no, or you can't give up because you hit a bump in the road. You just keep going. And then you also look for unexpected results. You may not get the result. I didn't know that Montgomery, Alabama was going to sign in today and watch our show.
Yes.
So it's an unexpected outcome. So you can go in with goals in mind, but be open to other results, other outcomes might happen as well.
I agree.
moving.
I agree. But how long does it take for us to unlock the power of content? Even though, okay, I'm very impatient. We are on the step 3 already with the resilient 4, 5, 6. But before reaching those steps, how long does it take for us actually? So it will not scare me, Mark, to start something.
You say, how long was my trip to Australia? You don't give up. You don't jump out of the plane. You say, look, we're going to Melbourne, and we're flying to Sydney, and it's going to take how long it takes. And you may have in your mind, I didn't realize that 16 hours was that long. That's a long.
Wow, that's true. And I asked you to drop by in Bali easily.
I love that.
Next year.
Guys, listeners, viewers, you'll love this story. I'm in Australia, and Sonia says, well, on the way back, can you stop in Bali? Sure, I'll just stop right over. No, but imagine how interesting you would say, no, everybody can't do this. We're flying around. We sound like, we're just world travelers and globetrotters here. But you've got to be open to, I met some people, or I went on a side trip, or I went to a town that nobody's ever heard of. See, when I went to Australia, people say, oh, of course you're going to Sydney. Are you going to the Outback? Are you going to see a koala bear? Of course I'm going to see a koala and a kangaroo.
And they are not sleeping like I always have. Everywhere I go, not in Australia, in Netherlands, in Austria, and then I remember in Bangkok, and they are always sleeping. So, but you are lucky that you find them alive. What I mean is very, very, very cute. They do their activity. So, maybe our lucks are different. Yes.
They were awake. But I also told people I went to Port Lincoln, Australia. And Port Lincoln is not on most people's travel map. And it's not a destination.
Port Lincoln.
And it's a fishing town. And this was a place that I spent several days. learned a lot about the country, met a lot of nice
Correct.
people because it was a smaller town. So it was, so what I'm saying is just like travel, that we're open to adventure. Well, podcasting, live streaming, content creating has to be the same. You have to be open to other potential outcomes. Take a side trip. Go on a road that you don't know. Meet people that you wouldn't meet. Go to a restaurant. I was traveling by myself, so I had to go to a restaurant alone. So you never know who you're going to meet or who might say, "Hey, can I join you?" And it was fun.
That is a great analogy to connect it with your content. Wow. I know you are a nerd, but this is a really different approach that I learned from you, how to do this, to create our content. And then let us move to step 4. I'm already very curious. What is
Well,
that?
step four, I mentioned that creativity is a business.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of listeners right now saying, but I don't have time to fool around with content all day. I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to build a brand. That's why I'm doing this to begin with. And if I spend all my time doing podcasts or social media. So what I'm saying is that just like the other aspects of your business, know your numbers. How much are you spending on content? How much are you spending on getting out the content? If it's a marketing expense, then put it under marketing and determine what you're using this content for in your marketing practice. But know your numbers. You also mentioned about reach and clicks and listeners and viewers and downloads and all the other metrics that we often use in this field.
Yeah.
And this is, and I constantly read this from a lot of the experts, and that is, it's not just your numbers. You may or might not have a top 10 podcast. You're not going to have every video go viral and have millions of viewers and thousands of likes, but it's the consistency, and it's the loyalty, and it's the regularity of repetition of your story, of your message. Keep going. Know the numbers. Don't be obsessed about the numbers. I remember one of our other friends, Larry Roberts, talked about, you want to be number one somewhere, I can get you to be number one. It might cost money,
I
but
love Larry. It's been a long time I haven't interviewed him, but he's everywhere now. He is a star.
yes, love Larry. So in other words, don't just focus on, do I have the number one show? Do I have hundreds of thousands of downloads? I mean, it's gratifying, but it's not the only metric. So are you making, go back to my word before, connections. Are you making connections? And if you have connections, that's the most important number. Are you getting a call for your business? Are you getting samples out there? Are you getting new readers? All of these things can be helpful numbers. So that's number 4.
And then, should we continue to number 5? But
Let's
because
sure.
time is really limited, but I still have a lot of questions. That's why I would like to know the 6
Yes. So
steps
let's go to
first.
number 5 then. The number 5 is to know the obstacles, but actually use the obstacles. When I talked about there's so much content out there about the mistakes that I've made, the steps to avoid, the actions that I took that were wrong. Learn from the obstacles, but actually use the obstacles for your content. That people want to know that you're not perfect. And we laughed about live. On live, things are going to happen, and sometimes you can edit them out later, and sometimes you don't need to. But if you make obstacles or questions or mistakes part of your content, it's like an inside out. So if once a week you're saying, "Oh, I'm stuck on my content," well then look at a negative, look at an obstacle, look at a mistake that you made, and turn that into content. So that's number 5. And I had so many guests that I've talked to learn from their mistakes and overcome their obstacles.
And what about if we make mistakes, especially in live streaming and podcasting? What should we do? Is it okay for the
Yeah.
people to see our mistake, or we try to cover it with a lot of excuses?
And I think if we're talking about a crisis management situation, then
so
seek,
many, so many
yeah,
mistakes
seek,
I made in the past.
yeah, I mean, seek professional help. But
Uh,
if we're just talking about, oh, we made a boo-boo, oh, we said the
uh,
wrong word,
uh,
oh, I tried to say collaborators, but it came out collaborators. I mean,
oh, that's
these,
me. That's
yeah,
really me.
just be human. Yeah, I go back to the fact that they want to know us and our personal brand. So yeah, if we have a hiccup, if we make a mistake, now I've had interviews where somebody called me the next day and said, "Oh, I realized I'm not supposed to talk about that. That's confidential," or "Oh, I wasn't supposed to mention that person," or "Oh, I said the title of my book wrong. Can we correct it?" I mean, there are ways to edit ourselves. But mainly when I'm talking about mistakes, it's like, here's something I did with a client once that I wish I could take back. Here's something I said in a meeting that I never meant to say. And I learned from that mistake. And I didn't make that mistake again. So these are the types of things, not the everyday errors. But I'm talking about if you had a business mistake. I hired somebody I shouldn't have. I fired somebody I should not have. I took out a loan I wish I didn't take out. I teamed up with a client that I wish I would have treated better. These are things that you can say, lessons learned from your experience. And people love to hear real life lessons.
And it is okay to make mistakes, actually, right?
Well, it's not just okay, but since it's a natural part of life, you're going to, you've already made mistakes. You're going to make more. So embrace them.
Yes, and what I mean is like, of course, it is we need to embrace our mistake, but then on the content creation, sometimes the comments will be harsh than the mistakes we made. But yeah, we learn from them, and I don't think that we need to feel discouraged to create more contents, even though if we make mistakes before, right? If you are a
Yes.
professional, then it is okay to make mistake. You can apologize, but sometimes you don't need to apologize, because everyone can make mistake, and as long as we try to fix it, it will be okay. What do you think about it, Mark? Because there are
Yeah,
many influencers who do that also, right?
that's right. And if it's an honest mistake,
Mm.
if you said, I misspoke,
Mm-mm.
I said the wrong thing, I used the wrong word, I
Mm-mm.
said a phrase that I shouldn't have said, I used a term that was outdated, outmoded. Um, who knows? I mean, and look, we are in the worldwide business, both of us, and there are going to be cultural differences. And if somebody uses a term that in one country is derogatory or is outmoded, outdated, well, then you have to say, I'm sorry, that was not my intention.
Intention. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you know. And if overall, again, your brand has to be, I'm a good person, I'm a good brand,
Mm-mm.
I'm authentic, and so it was an honest error.
And then
And then
the
you try to do better. Yeah.
yeah, that is what we can do, being better and better in each day, in more content. But then 280, how long does it take for you to create them?
Well, that's
But
that's going to be the
congratulations, I didn't say congratulations. Oh my
yes.
god, but I'm sorry.
It's great. It's great. So let's start there at number 6,
Mm-mm.
because this is when you asked me also how long does it take.
Yes.
But number 6 is develop your leadership influence. Somewhere I learned in all of these interviews that you're a leader of something,
Mm.
that people are following you. Listen to what the word we use in social media. We have followers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have loyal listeners. We have brand champions. All of this is as a result of our leadership. And so the sixth lesson I learned from all of these interviews is to build your leadership influence.
Mhm.
And so by you saying, for example, in your own program, Live Podcast Media, that you want to be, brave, you want to be solo, you want to build your reputation,
Mhm.
you want to show that you have mastery over much of this content and these processes. This is leadership. And so to anyone and everyone who's listening, you are a leader in your field, no matter where you are. Someone can learn from you, someone can follow you. And to the extent that you'll be positioned as a leader somewhere, somehow, you can develop that muscle and act like a leader and demonstrate leadership traits.
I think your lesson that you give us today will be updated on my book, but it is not only about content, about everything that we can create from our content that build a network to reach our goals, not only in business but also in personal life, I think, because you tell about leadership, you talk about business, you talk about resilience like a life coach, everything is on it. And really, I'm really blessed that you are here today and grateful and honored that you are here today, Mark. And it's been a long time that I don't do this. So thank you so much, really, for all of the supports you have been giving me in my live streaming.
Oh, for sure. Well, like I said, and I can't be more sincere about this, and that is, Sonia, your dedication, your resilience, you've hit obstacles. So keep leading, keep bringing this to the forefront, and
I
the more
hope
we
so.
can connect, and you've connected with new people, you've helped me connect with new people, so it's been fantastic. Good
And you have
partnership.
been supporting me, and please do not stop supporting me, Mark, as a sponsor and also as guest expert speakers. Maybe, yeah, I understand that people think sponsorship is only about money, but that is not true, because with the money, maybe I don't mention about the amount here. No matter how small the sponsorship, no matter how big the sponsorship, it doesn't help only me, but also my brand, Live Podcast Media, to what is it, to provide this platform for people to learn. Am I right about that? I don't know, but
No
then
question, no
and
question.
then ICAM also has been sponsoring me with this platform. Imagine if I have to pay in the minimum wage here, right? The national minimum here, and then I have to pay $200 per month, for example, for a podcast platform and also for live streaming platform to look professional. It will not make it that way, right? That's why maybe live streaming here is expensive, but with your sponsorship, with ACAM, with Blueberry, with Piece of Cake Voice Awards and Focus, and also Garden from Expert in You, then this is what strengthened me. People do not realize that Sonia is still small, I don't want to sponsor her, but this is what I mean, like with your support, Mark, I can be here, right? And then
I
also
appreciate
reach
that.
more. That's why I am grateful that you have been supporting me. And do you have more messages before we are going to close this? We have already live streaming for 48 minutes here. I know I want to go on, but it is midnight here, and I would like to. I have to work again in the morning. You know that. That's why I
Yes,
make it
yes.
now in the morning, U.S. time, Eastern time.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Well, like I said, I'm going to be putting all of these lessons learned in a new book, and so I'll let you and your listeners know when that comes out. And then every week on my podcast, Your World of Creativity, it's on all the podcast platforms, and you can learn these creative tools from my guests every week.
Would you like to share the link already? Have you already launched it, or would you be patient enough to
It's
launch it next year in Bali? No, no,
there you
no.
go.
You can launch it now, but then we do the book signing in Bali, okay?
We'll
At the
do it.
Bali Summit.
So yes, it's yourworldofcreativity.com.
Wordofcreativity.com. I will type it
Yeah.
in the comments for all. Uh,
And right now the podcast is on there, but the book will be added.
Word of Creativity.com. There we go. Moment. I'm a bit slow in typing here. On this is from everywhere. Yep. Oh, sorry. See, wrong. Sorry. Creativity. I don't know if I can. No. Sorry, I apologize. I will delete it one by one. Creativity.com, like this.
Yeah, and then just add your world of creativity.
Oh yeah, your word of creativity. So your word of creativity. Sorry,
Yep,
I
it's all
didn't
good.
pay attention to my typing. Word of creativity because it's very small for me in the studio.
Yes, it's kind of the chat is kind of small,
Yes.
but that's good.
Thank you so much, Mark, for being
Yeah.
here. Looking
Well,
forward.
thanks for having me. Keep on keeping on. Keep the
We will.
pulse going. Keep the
And
streak
oh,
going.
sorry, I'm sorry, Ames. And thank you so much for the recommendation of the other speakers to speak on 100 Days Live Podcast. I'm going to contact them, and it will be great if we have more speakers on 100 Days Live Podcast, right? So again, thank you so much, Mark, for being here today. It's an honor for me and Live Podcast Media that you come as a sponsor and also as the guest expert speakers for people to learn from. And
Thanks for
yes,
having me.
and I will see you again soon. For Live Podcast Awards also, we are going to change the name maybe. I don't know. I'm still on the what is it? On the discussion also with the lead judges, Rob, and also thought because the word of podcast and also live streaming changed really fast, and then AI is there also, and then I would like to focus on content creators more, not only live streaming and podcasting, and also influencers and all of the other people that use live streaming and social media and of course podcast as their brand. Thank you so much, Mark, for being here. It is already midnight here, so I'm a bit see already 5 was. I will talk to you again soon, and then don't forget to share the love everywhere you go, and support Live Podcast Media. Be the sponsor, be also the guest speaker, and connect with the amazing people like Mark Stinson. And I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.